This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire. I'm at Sydney's Bowlers Club of New South Wales for another Symposium Resources Roadshow. One of the featured companies tonight, Rox Resources, a Perth-based exploration company focusing on zinc-lead deposits in the Northern Territory. Managing Director Ian Mulholland, a 30-year exploration and development geologist and manager, has worked for some of the biggest resources companies on the planet, quite literally. Western Mining, Esso Minerals, Aurora Gold, Anaconda Nickel, just to name a few. Ian Mulholland joins me now. Welcome to ABN Newswire.
Thanks, Brian.
Where is the resource and how big is it?
Well, the resource is located in the Northern Territory. We're about halfway between Darwin and Mount Isa, for those people who know the map of Australia.
Which is basically in the middle of nowhere.
It's in the middle of nowhere, except that we're 20 kilometres south of one of the biggest zinc mines in the world, which is McArthur River. And there's huge infrastructure that's been put in place for McArthur River. Just being 20 kilometres south, we've got all of that at our disposal.
How big is your resource? How much
the resource at the moment is it's still early days.
Yep.
You know, so far we've identified about 40 million tonnes,
wow. But
we think that it'll be much bigger than that. It's open at depth and along strike.
So you're confident the more drilling you do, the more you're going to find?
I think so, yeah.
You mentioned you're adjacent to the McArthur River zinc-lead deposit. It is an amazing resource, isn't it?
It is. It's one of the biggest in the world, and they always say that a good place to look is in the shadow of the head frame. In other words, nearby to another major deposit. And of course, 20 kilometres north of Mount Isa, you've got the Hilton deposit, and another 10 kilometres north, you've got the George Fisher deposit. So these things can occur quite close to each other. So being just 20 kilometres away is not a problem.
What process are you at exactly right now? Where are you at?
We're still at the exploration stage. Yep. We're still drilling. We've done some preliminary metallurgical test work, but that's still very early stage. Mm-hmm. We're still really trying to get a handle on the resource, and we think that we're just tapping the potential. We're just starting to understand the geological environment and how it all fits together. The 40 million tonnes we think is just the tip of the iceberg, and we've got a very good model for chasing some higher grade material at depth, and we're looking forward to doing that soon.
There's some very bullish attitudes about the Australian resources sector just at the moment. Are you in that camp? Are we about to go ballistic again?
I hope we don't go ballistic, because I'd like to keep things sensible. But I think we're in a phase of quite strong demand for minerals, and that's going to put a pressure on price, which means that there's going to be more money available for exploration and development, and it's going to keep the industry going. Well, if we get to crazy levels, that puts stress on everybody.
Okay.
So I'd like to sort of just be a little bit off the
so happening but contained.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to get across to potential investors today? What was the crux of your pitch?
The pitch is really about the latent value inherent in the company in this particular project, that we could potentially have another major zinc deposit on our hands, and that our current share price and our current market capitalisation is way under where it should be. And it's a good investment opportunity for people to get in while the price is low, while we're still sort of unrecognised and unloved, because when we take off, it could be quite good.
How valuable do you think events like the Symposium Resources Roadshow are for both listed companies and those curious but discerning investors? You obviously see value in these sorts of presentations where you get to eyeball potential investors directly, you can talk to them, answer questions. Clearly there's some value in it.
Oh look, absolutely. You know, the main thing that an MD of a company wants to do is talk to investors, talk to people who are going to buy shares. Talk to people who are going to be a supporter over a long period of time, who believe in your story, believe in the management, have confidence and so forth.
Because you have very good people, don't you? You have some excellent people.
Yeah. You know, we've got a very strong board. We've got excellent people working for us. But, you know, events like this just give us the opportunity to connect with the people who actually go out there and generate the interest in the shares. And it also enables them to see us in the flesh. And see that we are actually real people, and we're out there trying our hardest for our shareholders.
Let's do some crystal ball gazing here. Mm-hmm. How long will it be before you extract that first load of mineral? How long until it comes out of the ground?
Oh, look, that's hard to say. I mean, big projects have big timelines. There's no doubt about that. I did some analysis recently. The average time for a base metal deposit to be discovered to developed in Australia is about 12 years.
Wow.
Now, this this particular project, I think we're about halfway along that. I think within 5 to 6 years we could be in production, but that's, of course, if all of the exploration goes well. So it is a long-term investment, but that's the realistic timeline.
What sort of capital injection would you like to see?
Well, initially I'd like to obviously have enough money to go out and continue the exploration. That's a bit difficult without the support from investors. That support is coming back. This year's seen a turnaround in investor sentiment. People are much more prepared to get involved in companies. So I would like to have that capital to get the exploration ticking over. Ultimately, if we develop a mine there, we're talking $200 or $300 million. Wow. But we're talking about a mine that will be worth $1 billion or more. So
staggering.
So it's a staggering amount.
If it goes to plan.
If it goes to plan, that's
okay.
Right.
Are you hoping that some of the capital flowing out of China is likely to come your way? Is that something you'd be open to? Absolutely.
We've had talks with Chinese companies, and they're certainly interested. They recognise the potential of the project, and of course the Chinese are very interested in getting their feet on long-term resources. They think long-term, and that's a great thing for the industry. Yes.
So you see a continuing strength in the ongoing in the Australian resources sector ongoing. Yeah.
Look, I think so. What we've seen to date is a lot of investment at the production and near production levels. Yep. I think what we're going to see in the future is as those opportunities start to dry up, they're going to start coming down to the exploration companies and looking at the companies that have very strong projects and investing in those.
Ian Mulholland, Managing Director of Rox Resources, thanks so much for joining me today.
Cheers, Brian. Thank you.
This is Brian Carlton for ABN Newswire.